The average woman mass murderer kills for the first time at age 31 and continues to kill for 5 years before she is apprehended. By that time she has killed approximately 17 people. Multicides committed by women are different than those committed by men in terms of victim, method, and location. Most victims are selected from her immediate or extended family. Other victims are associated with the murderer as employers, friends, or suitors. A large percentage of victims are very young or very old. With few exceptions, women murder their victims in either party's residence. Upon arrest, women murderers usually show little or no remorse for their actions. Most women are adjudged sane, convicted, and sentenced to long prison terms. Hatred of men appears to be the underlying motive for these women. We never really hear about female murderers. Gender associations with serial murderers almost always skew male. In fact, only 10% of the total murders committed in the United States are by women. Interestingly, they are responsible for 17% of all serial murders. Therefore, a female offender is more likely to be in this group. What helps to explain these statistics? Criminology expert Maida Chesney-Lind has devoted her time to examining the sociology of women, gender, and crime. Some sociologists point to traditional gender roles, where boys are raised to be dominant and competitive, while girls are expected to be nurturing and gentle. Others believe it is a matter of evolved sexual differences related to competition for status and female partners. But not all serial killers are demented men. Concerning female criminality, psychologists point to many myths perpetrated around women serial killers in history, such as the reluctant sidekick or manipulated victim of a domineering male who is coerced into criminal acts out of the need for survival. There are appearance-based theories tied to the murderous vixen or the unappealing, revengeful outcast, the copycat criminal following in male footsteps, or a scorned man-hater out for revenge. None of this explains the mystique around these femmes fatales. What motivates them? How are they different than their male counterparts? Olga HEPNAROVÁ was a female mass murderer, a Czechoslovak rampage killer, who on the 10th of July 1973, killed 8 people with a truck in Prague. Olga HEPNAROVÁ was born on June 30, 1951 in Prague. She was the daughter of a bank clerk and her mother was a dentist. She was an average child, but she later developed psychiatric problems. In 1964 she attempted suicide by swallowing medication, and spent a year in a psychiatric ward in Operany. Later, she worked in various places but was fired shortly after being hired. She ended up as a truck driver. On July 10, 1973 she drove a truck into a group of about 25 people waiting for a tram in Prague 7, on a street today named after Mlada Horokova. 3 people died immediately, 3 more died later the same day and 2 in a few days, all aged between 60 to 79. 6 were badly injured, 6 lightly. In her statement she said there were no trams, no cars, nothing was in my way. I said to myself that was the right time to do it. I drove on the pavement, went on and ran into the crowd of people knocking them down. Before the murder, she sent a letter to 2 newspapers explaining her action as revenge for all the hatred against her by her family and the world. Due to the slowness of the postal system, the letter was received 2 days after the murder. She had planned the revenge against society in her head for a long time and included ideas of derailing a train or an explosion. I am a loner. A destroyed man. A man destroyed by people. I have a choice, to kill myself or to kill others. I choose to revenge my haters. It would be too easy to leave this world as an unknown suicide. The society is too indifferent, rightly so. My verdict is, I, Olga HEPNAROVÁ, the victim of your bestiality, sentence you to death penalty. During the investigation, HEPNAROVÁ confirmed her intention was to kill as many people as possible, and she expressed no regret. Psychology experts found her fully aware of her actions. She planned her actions, as she considered a slope leading to the stop. That allowed her to gain speed for the maximum death toll. The collision was her second attempt, as she felt there were not enough people on her first run. She was arrested and told detectives that it was her intention was to kill as many people as possible. She expressed no regret for her actions. On April 6, 1974, she was sentenced for murder to death by the city court. The sentence was affirmed by higher instance courts, and the Supreme Court requalified the sentence to public endangerment with the same punishment upheld. On remand, she was examined by prison psychologists who were not able to diagnose her as legally insane. She came to trial in 1974 at the municipal court in Prague. She was represented by an experienced lawyer, but refused to cooperate with him, insisting on her sanity. She tried to make a speech accusing society. If the society destroys individuals, individuals can destroy the society. I wanted to take my revenge on the society, including my family, because they are my enemy. Knowing that I managed to do it, I felt a kind of release and satisfaction. On April 6, 1974, she was found guilty of all 8 murders and sentenced to death by hanging. Her mother initiated an appeal to the Czech Supreme Court, but this was rejected and the sentence confirmed. The Supreme Court of the Czechoslovak Socialistic Republic carried out a judicial review which upheld the lower court's ruling. On March 3, 1975, Gustav Husek, the president of the Czechoslovak Socialistic Republic, refused her mother's plea for mercy, and her execution was fixed for March 12. 9 days later, Olga was hanged on March 12, 1975 in Pankrak prison, Prague. Despite what she had told reporters earlier, when the time came she was reportedly very afraid of dying. The gallows used for Olga's execution and was installed in 1954 to replace pole hanging. In the execution room she was placed on the 32-inch square metal trapdoors and the simple noose, tied to an iron bar projecting from the wall above her, placed around her neck. When the hangman pulled the lever she dropped just a few inches and strangled to death. She was 23 years, 8 months and 10 days old and was the last woman to be executed in Czechoslovakia. Thank you for watching Death Row.